Here we are. Boom! 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 Shakalaka! Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video. This is Real Talk Football. My name is Ciarán, and today I'm joined by a very, very special guest, and his name is Adam Leonard, otherwise known as Adman.
Special being the word, Cran. I'll give you that. I am special in my own way. Thanks for having me, Cran. I'm delighted to be on. We've discussed this for a long time, and delighted to be involved. You know,
I wouldn't just get anyone on the channel. I'll get someone that knows ball, and Adam certainly knows ball. So we're going to talk ball today.
Cran, that would be a great grinder by all. You know that he knows ball.
You know ball.
Oh, stop. I am not on grind. I shouldn't even have to say that. You can edit that out, man.
That's not getting edited now. I'm not bothered. Before we get into it, I would advise you all to subscribe, as always. And Adam runs a great jerseys page. I want you to go over and I want you to go follow that. That'll be in the link in the description. It's called Just Jersey. Yeah. Posting jerseys, beautiful jerseys. And you do some great...
it's like a free OnlyFans, you know what I mean, for people who have a fetish for jerseys. Yeah. That's why I describe it to people. It's just a bit of harmless fun to kind of keep you going through this shitty pandemic life, you know. But we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time, Cran, isn't that it?
Fact. Right. I think there's only one way to start.
Looks like it.
As
we have to start with Liverpool and Leipzig, don't we? I think it's kind of the elephant in the room for us all.
If you didn't know, Adam's a big Liverpool fan, and it's been a horrific 24 hours for you. What's happened? What's happened at Liverpool?
I think your guess is as good as mine. It's just a period of confusion, really. I think with all the injury stats that we've suffered from this season and stuff, and it feels like the past few games in particular have kind of caught up on us in that respect. You know, I think a lot of the kind of best play we do comes from the midfield, and when you have two of your best midfielders playing centre half, and look, it's not an excuse in the sense that we're after paying for one of the best midfielders in the world, and Thiago coming in, and he hasn't really performed either. So I think it's an amalgamation of things. You know, I think the lack of performance from some people, quality wise, hasn't been there.
Yeah,
I think a player like Mo Salah I think he's on 23 goals this season, which is I have no idea how, all competitions, but you know, he's really come to the fold and stuff. And there's other players like Mane's been missing all season. You know, Robertson started the season off well. We seem to be burning off now and stuff. So I think the Champions League is a great platform for us to kind of freshen up.
Yeah, I mean,
best performance.
League form doesn't really matter, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it doesn't matter. I think when you have a team like City who are flying away with it, like they're really strong in the league and stuff. And you know, you have teams like Leicester and Man United, and you know, even Chelsea to an extent, who are kind of picking up form now. It's kind of, when you're hitting this down period, it's hard. But I do think the Champions League offers a great opportunity for us to progress a bit, because like our best performances come in Champions League. I think away to Atlanta when we go 5-0. Yeah. You know, I think Jota got a hat trick in that game, and it's a tough period. But I think starting on Tuesday, hopefully we can get it going. But Leipzig are a tough opposition, of course.
The thing is, like, when I watch it as a neutral, I notice like it breaks. It's a lot of what Chelsea do. It breaks down in the final third. Like when it gets to that area, I notice like I think Firmino is ghosting a bit, to be honest, because he did it yesterday. He came back, and he should be going into that space in the middle and creating things, but he's just staying up front, and there's a bit of a gap between your forwards and your midfield, and I think that's something that needs to be. Yeah, it was there last season, and I just noticed that in the final third it's always breaking down, just like Chelsea, like at the moment.
But something that has to be rectified. I think some of our best performances this season have come as a result of a player like Firmino playing well. So away at home to Spurs, and away to Spurs as well, he was great in that game. Some of our best performances, and when he comes to life, we come to life. The problem is he hasn't been at that kind of form really all season, apart from one or two games. And Jota came in and kind of almost took the pressure off in a way and outperformed them. You know,
He's
got the hat-trick
unbelievable.
away to Atlanta.
When's he back? What's happened?
That's the thing. He got injured in a game against Monchedgladbach, in a game that meant nothing. You know what I mean? There was a lad playing, Leighton Clarkson, and I actually rate him. He's a good player, good ball player, whatever. And well, he's probably never going to play for Liverpool again. Now I'm saying this could come back to haunt me in a few years, but that was the type of game it was. It was a game where players who it was just a nothing game.
Yeah,
it was a nothing game, and I think he came on for like the last half an hour and got injured. When you look back at the end of the season, you know, hindsight's great. You can say, well, Klopp should have brought him on, but at the time he felt he needed to. He absolutely didn't need to in slice, but that's what he didn't. That's the thing with football. These things happen, and you just have to move on from it, you know.
I suppose we'll get into talking about this game in particular, Leipzig, Liverpool. What we thinking?
I think based on recent form, you know, I'm not looking forward to it at all. But it's hard not to look forward to Champions League football. You know, it's the meat and potatoes now as well. You know, the knockout stages. This is where it gets really good, really interesting. But you have to think about Leipzig. You know, as a team who, you know, I think they've beat Spurs in Champions League before, and I think they might have knocked Spurs out of Champions League last season. I think they did.
Really good manager as well.
A really good manager, young manager, and you know, very efficient. He sets his team out well. You know, I think obviously they lost Werner to you. They say loss. I mean, it's not much for a game. It's not much for a game for Chelsea at the minute. But you know, losing Werner has really affected them as well. So, but at the same time, they're sitting second in the Bundesliga at the minute. They are currently 4 points behind Bayern, so they're still the top side. I think a player like Angelino on the left, who, you know, is kind of a player that City let go. You know what I mean? Another one that got away for them, but they're not struggling either, so it's really irrelevant. But I think Angelino against United, I think he's going to be the danger on Tuesday. It's not even being played in Germany either, so it's kind of a bit of a strange situation.
Where's it being played actually? Because I heard all these matches are in neutral venues. I think ours is in Budapest or Warsaw or something like that. I have no clue. But where's yours being played?
Liverpool's is definitely in Budapest. Yeah, Budapest is where it's being played.
Like, my thoughts on that game, Leipzig, Liverpool, I think Liverpool are quite vulnerable at the moment, and I don't know whether this will be like the turnaround they need in this game. I think they need to slowly build up momentum. But if they win this game, it'll be big. Certainly, and that could spark like their turnaround to the season. But I would expect Leipzig to win, to be honest. This home game in particular, I don't know about the second leg at Anfield. I suppose we'll do a prediction for what we thinking.
It could be a tough one. I think I'm not very good at predicting scorelines, but I do think Leipzig will go through, and possibly, you know, maybe on away goals. So I could see maybe, well, away goals. I think they'll win at Anfield. I think they could win maybe 2-0 at Anfield, and I think the first leg could be a draw. I know it makes absolutely no sense, but the way we've been at Anfield, it's kind of, I just can't see us scoring. I can't see us scoring at Anfield. So first leg 1-0, and I'll go second leg 1-0 to Leipzig. And I'll set 2-0 and I go 1-0.
It's going to be close. Yeah. I think, even the 2,000 fans in Liverpool a few months ago, they were doing bits, you know, in the Kop. Even any fans makes a difference, but it will be a close game. I think you're right, they'll win on away goals, or even it could go to extra time the second leg, you wouldn't know, but
don't say that.
I would expect Leipzig to go through here, but they're the favourites at the moment. If Liverpool can turn it around, we'll see. But I'd expect Leipzig in this one. We'll go Barca against Paris. What are we thinking?
I think with PSG, you know, it comes down to, and it's the same with Barcelona, it comes down to how they perform on the night, and they perform over the two legs, because Barcelona at the minute are weird, a very strange club. It's like a car with 4 broken wheels, slowly disintegrating into none. The driver's a great driver, you know what I mean? He's really good, and the driver here being Messi, and like, I think Messi wants out, and I think this game could provide it could be a big platform for him. You know, obviously he doesn't need any platform at all. You know, best player to ever do it. He got 2 goals through the night, but I do think a lot of what Barcelona do comes down to how Messi is on the day, and if he wants to turn up, I think Barcelona could do it. But if he doesn't, who knows?
Barca, for me, they've always been lacking in defence, and since Guardiola left, that's sort of been it's been a gaping hole that's been missing. Like when they had Guardiola, it wasn't as noticeable, but they had like the likes of Puyol, obviously PK, they were decent, but since then, like you tore them apart at Anfield 4-0, and
I think the big one, Puyol for me.
Puyol
down was massive, and like you said, we really did destroy. I think the game at Anfield in Champions League, the year we won it, 2019. I actually think that's after kind of breaking Barcelona in a way. You know what I mean? The year before they'd lost to Rome in Champions League semis as well, but they haven't been the same. They haven't been the same for a couple of years, and I think now that their kind of star man wants to go, Messi wants out. It's a crumbling empire. It's sad to say. It is really sad to say. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Atleti. I always have liked that Atletico Madrid, and I'm actually happy they're top or whatever. But at the expense of Barcelona being as poor as they are, and Real Madrid, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it's sad about Barca and Real. Paris with Poch, I don't know what you think. I was baffled. All right, I was baffled that Poch went to PSG and Tuchel left and Tuchel came to Chelsea when we were rumoured to get Poch before we went to PSG. So we said, I think we sort of settled for second best. But, I'm happy with Thomas Tuchel. I'm liking what he's doing so far. Yeah, I don't know what you think about Poch.
If I was in your position and you asked me would I prefer Tuchel or Pochettino, in the position that Chelsea are in, I would have gone with Pochettino. But Tuchel's still a good boss. You know what I mean? He's a good gaffer. I do think Pochettino has a certain way of doing things, and at Spurs, if he had been given that bit more leeway that he would be given at Chelsea, you know what I mean? If he was given the money to spend at Chelsea, he would probably, do a lot of damage to the Premier League and, maybe even win a Champions League. Like, he would be very good if given the tools. He just wasn't at Spurs, and at the end of the day, he's a manager. He's not a miracle worker, and Spurs, wouldn't win a raffle. So it doesn't matter who's in charge with them, but remains to be saying. I think this game provides a big test for him. I think in terms of against Barcelona, against the best player in the world, and Messi, and if he turns up, and you expect him to turn up.
I fancy PSG for this one. I think we'll do predictions. I fancy PSG. I think Barca, strength and depth wise, throughout the whole starting 11, I don't think they can cope. But I don't know, because PSG, last year they lost Thiago Silva. I don't know what they're doing in the league, but I'd always fancy PSG this early in the competition. And Barca, they're on the roughest period of the last 20 years or whatever. So, yeah, I'd go for PSG in this one, convincingly as well. Don't know about you.
Oh, it's a very tough one because, for me, in anyways, it all depends on which Messi turns up. If a motivated Messi turns up, PSG can be beaten very easily. I think the PSG squad is a great squad. Anyways, Di Maria, obviously Mbappe, Neymar. Neymar is out for the first game. Anyways, I don't know if he's out for the second game. Neymar could be the difference here as well. So it's a tough one. I do think PSG will, over the 2 legs, will go through.
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
You can't doubt the go.
Well, that's the thing. It does for me come down to how he performs.
Yeah.
And if he turns up, I can see Barcelona going through very easily, but we don't know if he's going to turn up or not.
He'd want to turn up with the amount of money he's getting paid a year. Jesus. Anyway, don't want to talk about that. I think he gets paid something that I'm talking about anyway, but he gets paid 300 million a year. Something like that. Unbelievable.
So what prediction you got, Macron?
I'm going, PSG win. I think score-wise, I think they'll win both legs, to be honest.
I think over 2 legs it'll be PSG 3-0.
Over 2 legs, yeah. I'd probably go 4-1 PSG. I think Barca will probably get a goal in the home leg. Next game, Porto against Juve the Wednesday. I don't know why they're showing 2 good games on the Tuesday, and then these ones are kind of stinking up the whole competition. But I won't complain.
Yeah.
Porto Juventus. What were you thinking?
I was looking at a bit of form guide for both of them, and there's a lot of draws. Porto's last 5 games, they've 4 draws, and for Juve, they've drawn 6 games all season in the league.
Yeah.
They find themselves 7 points behind Milan. Just something about Juve this season. They're lacking something. I feel with Pirlo as the gaffer, he's still only a young man, like Lampard, like Gerrard. They're still getting to know the game and stuff, so it's kind of tough for them. But
Pirlo's like the Italian Lampard.
I mean, for Juve, very kind to Frank Lampard.
Stop that. For Juve, not.
Pirlo's still in a job, Cran.
Stop that. It's because Chelsea has standards that are kind of high for some reason. But Pirlo, like, for him not to be even competing for Serie A at this point, it's quite odd for Juventus, and I just think he's not doing a great job. But he has Ronaldo, for God's sake. Did Chelsea have Ronaldo? I don't think so. But, yeah.
No, you have Mason Mount and Billy Gilmore, so it's like have Ronaldo, isn't it?
Mason Mount's the new Ronaldo. Give it 4 years. Anyway.
No, I think I agree with you to an extent. Milan are running away with the league. Well, I say they're running away with the league. They're 7 points clear of Juve at the minute.
Yeah.
I think they have a game less played as well. Pretty sure. So again, it's tough for Juve in the sense that I think they're kind of going through a period of rebuilding as well. I think they're trying to get a lot of younger players in. Obviously, Ronaldo's still playing.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't he? I think players at the back, like, they're transitioning from a player like Ciarán to a player like Matthijs de Ligt, who obviously is a great player. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's not, but it is going to take time. I do think Juve will win the tie overall, but it could be a boring watch. You might be better off watching Bake Off that night.
Bake Off, man! I fucking love Bake Off. I'd pick that over this game any day. What a show!
Absolutely,
yeah. But
prediction wise, what have you got, Cron?
Prediction for Porto Juventus. I haven't a clue, man. I know that Malang Sarr, one of our centre backs, is on loan at Porto, but I haven't watched them once, and that just shows how much I like Portuguese football. I wouldn't even go there. But Porto against Juventus, I think Juventus they're gonna stink a 2 or 3-0. I don't think it'll be convincing, but over 2 legs, I think 3-0 would be the score.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think whatever about the away leg in Portugal, like, I think that's dead set for a 0-0 draw, maybe a score draw. But I think at home Juve will probably win comfortably. Like, I'd like to think that they will. I'll go Juve over 2 legs to go through 4-0.
Next game, Sevilla against
Dortmund, isn't it?
Dortmund. Yes. Klopp and Tuchel's out of club.
It's the one thing we have in common, Cran.
Yeah, and Mainz before that. Don't forget Mainz.
True, yeah.
Anyway,
Can't forget Mainz.
We'll start with Sevilla. We played Sevilla earlier in the competition. I'm just getting this in here quick. Okay, Giroud, 4 goals, but we'll move swiftly on from that. Sevilla.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Sevilla, Giroud for Ballon d'Or. Sevilla. I thought they were good in the first leg against us when we played them at the Bridge. They played some lovely stuff, and I think I seen a clip of them passing out from the back and scoring a goal, and it was beautiful. And it just shows passing out the back sometimes works when your team is good at it. But Sevilla, yeah.
And when there's no one in the stadium, Cran.
No one in the stadium.
No one in the stadium.
Yeah.
I think that has an effect as well. But go on, sorry.
Yeah, I like their manager a lot. I know he sort of snaked on the Spanish national team, but considering he's a snake, he is a good manager. I think he's a good manager, and I think this will be a bit of a game. I don't think Dortmund will have their own way, even though they're probably favourites. I don't know. Sevilla, I think, will put up a fight. Don't know what you think.
I think it'll be tight.
Yeah,
I think Dortmund in particular are an enigma of a team. Now, I think they've great young players. I think Sancho is great. for his age, and Haaland, I think Haaland has the potential to be, the best in the world.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like they're sixth in the league at the minute.
I hadn't a clue. Sixth in the league. I thought they were second or something. Oh my God.
They're not the most convincing team, I think the problem with them is they've lost 8 games this season in the league,
Yeah.
They've won 10. So they've nearly lost as many as they've won. So I think that says a lot. Over 2 legs now, I do like the Sevilla team. In contrast with Dortmund, they've won 14 and lost 5 in the league. And they beat Barcelona quite convincingly the other week as well.
Yeah.
I think they have a very strong team. I think Koundé, is a great young centre half. Rakitic obviously he's proven at Barcelona. I think he's won Champions League and La Liga, etc. So they have a great team. I would fancy Sevilla myself. So I'm going to go over 2 legs. Sevilla to go through by winning 4-3 in aggregate.
I don't know if this is even a shock. I think these are 2 balanced teams. I think it will be quite competitive. But I think Sevilla will definitely. I think they'll not definitely, but they'll win on away goals. They go for a bit of shock in this one. Anyway, we're into the big one.
The reason we all came.
Atletico versus Chelsea. What we thinking? The 23rd of February, first leg. This is going to take ages to complete. I think the second leg's on St. Patrick's Day. So hopefully I'm dancing and drinking Guinness all night after that one. But
I'll let you lead with this one.
All right. Well, people, I'm not gonna big up the team too much because I don't want to get arrogant in front of Adman because Liverpool are struggling a bit. But I think we've beat teams like Burnley. We've shown what we can do against Burnley and the likes. It hasn't been convincing, and that's the thing I'm quite worried about in this game because I think we could tend to get a reality check. I think that's most likely the thing that's going to happen. I think Atletico are definitely the favourites for this one. But Tuchel, I'm interested to see what Tuchel does because I know that Simeone plays a bit of a low block defensive football, and I'd be interested to see what we do to try and break that down. I don't know. Atletico are top of the league, so obviously they're a bit more than a low block. They're Suarez banging in goals, the cannibal, as usual, biting people's arms off and scoring goals. So
to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this will be interesting because I think Atletico will tend to counter attack. I think we'll dominate much of the ball because of the way Tuchel plays. But I don't know. I think we'll struggle to break Atletico down, and I think they could catch us a few times on the counter. It's tough to predict, Adman.
I think if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm confident based on the performances I've had. They've been good. I think you said it best yourself. It hasn't been convincing, which is the problem. I think defensively it hasn't been tested as much as were on the Lampard. I think Rudiger's mistake against Sheffield United showed that there's still mistakes there. It depends who Tuchel trusts, doesn't it? I think if he throws Alonso in and Rudiger, I would be very worried.
But they're going to go in. That's the thing. He likes them.
But I mean, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt for the minute because he's only new. You know what I mean? I think under Lampard it was different. To be fair, I don't think Lampard should have been sacked. Really,
no. I mean, it was a bit early
from a neutral standpoint, and I don't care too much for Chelsea overall.
Yeah.
But I do think for Abramovich himself, I said it earlier about Klopp, and I said it about a few people. They aren't miracle workers. You know what I mean? I said about Coleman, they're not miracle workers. For Lampard, at the end of the day, he's still only learning. He's still only a new gaffer. It was a tough position for him to be in.
I think that's
it's just strange. But
that's exactly why they were thinking, get rid of him, get an experienced manager in, and try and get top 4. Because that's the way this club follows. That they follow that model. As much as I wouldn't agree with it personally, I think stability is the answer to everything. But the club, at the end of the day, the hierarchy, that's what's got us to where we are today. And I suppose you have to trust it.
Well, look, it hasn't served you wrong. He's been a successful club off the back of it. It's not an abnormal thing for us to be successful doing this kind of thing. So I think you just have to bear in mind, like, for two, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt for the minute. I do think this game against Atleti could be bad. Could be a bad watch for Chelsea. With Atletico, the way they play, it really suits them, this knockout football. They can afford to sit back and do nothing. And I say do nothing, I mean afford to sit back and defend. And
that keeper as well, Oblak, what a fucking
legend best in the game, man.
Yeah,
he's probably the best keeper in the world. So I think it's going to be tough for Chelsea. It's going to be an interesting game. I think out of all the ties, there's a lot of good ties and good games in it. But I do find this one particularly interesting because you have a manager in Simeone who, he's tenured at Atletico. He's been there a long time. And then you have a manager in Tuchel who's only starting his process at Chelsea. So you have to just wait and see how it works out and what team he picks as well. But
I think Tuchel's struggling with the same thing as Lampard, though, getting the new players to work cohesively. I think that's still a problem, but he's covering it up because he's tactically preparing for it, and that's why we're playing a bit more defensively. I don't think he's really implemented what he wants to implement yet. So, it'll be interesting.
You have to remember as well, and look, at this isn't a dig at Chelsea, but for me, there's not a player at Chelsea. Like, I mean, a top tier player, like a Mo Salah or a Sterling, even
or Mason Mount.
I was just about to say, I know you're going to bring up Mason Mount, and he's a great young player, but I think it's a lot of pressure to put on Mount. You know what I mean? For him at his age, there's a lot of pressure to put on him. So I think he's lacking a star quality at the minute. And I know we talked about Thiago Silva a bit earlier and didn't really get around to it, but I do think an aging Thiago Silva isn't the answer to Chelsea's defensive problems. But you're at the start of
Don't disrespect the name, man. Don't disrespect the name.
No, he's a great player, man. He's a very good player, but I just think right now he's on a downward trajectory,
No, I'd agree with you, but I think he's just one of those players where it's like he could last like another 2 years and then he'd go shit, if you get me. It's not like FIFA, where they just go shit after 30.
Are you looking forward to these games, Cran? Like, do you feel like Chelsea can pull something from it?
Do you see my head shaking? No.
Yeah, I can see my head shaking.
Like, to be honest, I'd be a lot more nervous under Lampard. I think I'd be worried for Frank because he'd be going up against Simeone, and obviously Simeone's been in management years, so he could do wonders and he could humiliate him, and that's what I would have been worried about. But now under Tuchel, I'm content that we're gonna put in a bit of a fight. I think it'll be a close game. I think Atletico will probably edge it, and that's what I'm expecting. But we'll see what happens.
Big game experience is going to come into it. I think Atletico love these kind of games. That they live. Simeone lives for this kind of, tie. He loves these kind of games, and
he can't wait to see houses.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching the game in Anfield last year, and I was out with a few mates in college, and I remember when they scored that last goal and he ran down to the Atletico fans. Now, I know it drives people mad. Like, it really, it gets up people's noses. But I love that. I was really celebrating Atletico going through for the shithousing. So I do really appreciate that side of the game. And I just think, personally, I think it'd be too much for Chelsea. What prediction are you going with, Cron?
To be honest, I'm expecting a stink fest. I really am. I don't expect many shots on goal from either team. I feel like we'll struggle to break them down, but I would expect Atletico to just be, what would I say, structurally secure would be the way to describe it.
Yeah.
And they'll just shut up shop and get a 1-0 or something. I would expect that. Even over 2 legs, 1-0. Like, I think a 0-all is on the cards.
Yeah, you could very well be right. I don't know. I think over 2 legs, I do think they'll go through. And something you kind of touched on earlier was that you think, could be a reality check.
Yeah.
For Chelsea. And I could see that happening, especially the form Suarez is in. Suarez is in great form this season for Atletico.
He's kissing
I could see it being Yeah, kissing his arm and biting other people's. I can see it being a tough game, both games. I think over 2 legs. I know we've been going with the 2 legs aggregate prediction, so I think over 2 legs I'll go with let's go 3-0 was what I'll go with.
That's quite humiliating if that happens. I really hope that doesn't happen. But no, I would tend to agree. I don't think we'll struggle to score against these, considering how potent our attack is at the moment. It's not clicking. Anyway, I think we'll move on. I've said my piece about Chelsea enough. All right. We'll get through the last few fairly quickly because I know we've been going on a long time. So, Lazio, Bayern Munich. What are we thinking?
Oh,
another stink fest.
It has to be Bayern, isn't it? Bayern easily enough, I'd imagine. I think the only real threat that Lazio have is, Immobile.
Immobile, I like to call him.
I think for Lazio as well, they got knocked out of the Italian Cup semis by Atlanta. So, you would imagine that confidence is relatively low. I say that last 5 games they've won 4 and lost 1, so they're performing well. But you would imagine the confidence took a bit of a hit against Atalanta with going out of the semis, and against Bayern, it's the last team you want to play. They just have so many good players, So I think I'm just going to cut straight to the prediction. I'm going to say, Bayern 5, Lazio 1 over 2 legs.
Yeah, no, I would go for something similar. I know Lazio are very good attacking wise, and they do play some nice, attractive football. But I do expect Bayern to storm home this one. I go 4-0 as well over 2 legs. It'll be tight, one of them, and then I think Bayern will slaughter them in the next.
I think the game in Italy could be difficult.
Yeah.
I think the home leg could be a massacre. But at the same time, I think Bayern won the World Cup on Thursday. They're playing tomorrow night, and then they're playing Saturday afternoon. All of these games
stack up. Yeah.
So it could be difficult, but I do think they'll just have too much of them, and they'll probably just wipe the floor at them.
I'm still mad. Seeing you, Bayern and Liverpool win the World Cup. I'm still mad Chelsea didn't win it back in 2020. I was crying. We lost to some fucking farmer. I was so sad.
Maybe Chelsea are the farmer's crown.
That's true. Maybe we are. We were clowning around. I think the players are still on the piss from the last season. Anyway.
You can't really blame them.
We'll move on.
I think the next game is Borussia Monchedgladbach and Man City.
All right, you got it. Thank you.
I don't know the last game now. I know Atlanta are involved, but I don't know the last game. Again, like Bayern, it's gonna be Man City, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they'll storm home fairly convincingly, I would say.
They've been so good, man. They had a bit of a rocky start to the season, and since they've hit this form, they've just been unstoppable.
And I remember people were saying, at the start, they weren't even considering title contenders. They were like, City are off it this season.
Crazy.
Look at them now. Gundogan is like a new person. I think they lost. I think it was 6-1 or 6-2 to Leicester at home. Yeah.
And I remember watching it and being like, "Wow, this is
pandemic
how
football.
Is this happening?" But don't hear, I'm telling you now, I genuinely think the lack of crowds has got a massive effect on it. I just think Man City are going to stroll away with this. Pep has experience with German football as well, so you would imagine he has Monchengladbach well scouted. I hope I'm wrong, but it'll probably be a demolition job again.
I'm gonna go for a bit of more of a tighter game, but I don't know. City in the Champions League for me, it's a choke fest. I watched them last season against Lyon, and
absolutely
sometimes they just don't show up, and it's mad. I would say they would get through comfortably here, but it won't be very comfortable. I'll go 3-1 over 2 legs, or maybe 4-1, something like that.
I think the point you made there about City is a very valid one, because the season we won the Champions League, and obviously we nearly won the Premier League as well. We were a point out. I think it was 97 or 98 points we finished on winning the Champions League. That's unprecedented. You know what I mean? I think a team like City, I can see City doing that this season though. I can see City challenging for both. So that's why I do think they'll go through comfortably, and I do think it'll be I'm probably on the same wavelength as you. I think it'll be about 3-0 or 3-1. I don't think it's. I said demolition job. I do think they'll probably stroll past them, but I don't think it'll be big margins. They'll just play. They'll just play better than them. To put it simply,
they could do the double. Who knows?
Hopefully not. I'll go with City. I'll go with City 3-0.
Perfect. Right. Last game, Atlanta against Real Madrid. Now, yeah.
How did I not get that?
So this is it. Right. What do we think of Zidane?
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Zidane. Big fan. Big fan of him as a footballer and big fan of him as a manager. You know, he's a great manager. You know what I mean? I think was it 3 Champions Leagues in a row he won. It could be It could be a case of Atlanta are a very good side. Atlanta, don't get it wrong.
Their manager,
very good side.
Past them playing like fucking basketball, football.
Crazy. I remember when earlier in the season, and like we were talking about City or Chelsea going away to Sevilla winning 4-0. When we went away to Atalanta, that was the one game I was really afraid of in the Champions League, and we won 5-0. So I did think that was a bit of a false hope.
Yeah.
But I do think Atalanta. I think they'll definitely give Real a game. 100%. It's gonna be a tough one. What are you thinking yourself?
Personally, Real Madrid for me every day of the week, but I don't know. It feels to me it could be a bit of a shock. Like, I don't know, Real Madrid. I don't think they're definitely not as good as they were with Ronaldo. I think Atlanta will give them a game. I'd say it would be a tough one, but I think Real Madrid would just edge it. I'd say 5, maybe 4-3 on aggregate. There'll probably be a lot of goals. You know.
Yeah, I do. I know. I said earlier when we were looking for the games, I did say I don't know who they're playing, and I genuinely have no idea how I didn't remember Real Madrid, because it was a game that I was thinking of. And it is like looking at, I've written all my scorelines down that I predicted, you know, and there's not many shocks in it really. I suppose if Leipzig knocked us out, that would be a shock, but on current form, for me, it's not a shock.
Yeah.
And everything else is kind of more or less very straightforward. But this is one game that I do think, you know, Real could lose. You know, I do think they could definitely be knocked out. Definitely. You know, Atalanta lost Gomez in the January window, which was mental. You know, Gomez is a great little player. So
where did he go?
He went to Sevilla.
All right.
That's why I'm fairly confident back in Sevilla against Dortmund. You know, but I don't know. I think I'll go with 5-4 Atalanta.
Yeah.
Over 2 legs.
That's mad. You're gonna go with Atalanta being Real?
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. There's a bit of a shock to end the video.
Have you got all your predictions here, Cran?
I'll put them in the edit.
Cool.
Put yours in as well.
Yeah, we should do a little bet and see where we are in months' time.
Oh yeah, a bit of a bet. We'll come back for the quarterfinals and predict them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've rambled on far too long. I don't know how long we'll be going.
Oh, I know.
Thanks very much.
I think
it's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to end the video now, people. Please subscribe if you're new. Please go check Adam out. As I said, legend of the game. And I'll talk to you all in the next video. Peace, everyone.